Good morning, everybody, and welcome, Mark. Here we are again on yet another exciting podcast episode for our True Business Stories.
And it's good to be in the Clark Rubber store in South Geelong, would you call it, Graeme? Is it?
We call it Belmont.
Belmont,
yeah.
So Belmont. And Bill, who's our guest today?
Oh, Graeme Reid, and Graeme and his wife Sharon hold the franchise. Graeme, is it for just this region, or where's the next franchise from you?
The nearest closest one to us would be Hoppers Crossing, and then on the other side, Ballarat. So they're our two neighbours that we work in with.
Oh, that's good. So you're the only one in this in the Surf Coast Bellarine, Greater Geelong area, then.
That's right. Yes.
Good.
Yeah.
So Graeme, tell us where were you born? Where did life begin for you? Where did you start?
Oh well, we started actually. Life virtually started in the Golden Valley in Shepparton. You're born and bred local there. Left Shepparton at the age of 30 to pursue work opportunities. But leading up until then, Shepparton was our home. Both Sharon and I were born and bred in Shepparton. Yep.
And what was your first job?
His first job, I was actually the paymaster for a famous company called J. Furphy and Sons that make the water cart.
Yep.
At Shepparton Institute, and that was quite a great experience for me because the Furphy name's been around for hundreds of years, or I think it's 150. But they build their progressive your business on based on teamwork. Everyone within that organisation is feels like part of the team, and it was good grounding for us or for myself to work there to be able to understand how a good business works. Yeah.
And what then led to you leaving Shep to Geelong?
In the early years in Shepparton, a lot of my family's involvement was mainly with sports. So growing up, it was football, it was athletics, it was basketball, it was cricket. And immediately after having the opportunity, I thought I'd be able to make a career out of sport by we opened up an indoor sports centre in Shepparton after Furphy's, and then had a sports store in a nearby town. But I soon learnt that pursuing a dream like that it takes more than just being good at what you're doing. So I didn't make a lot of money, but soon had the opportunity to join a safety business as a sales rep, a national safety company, and that gave me the opportunity to go to Ballarat, where they had the opening of a new store there, and I was running that for a couple of years, and following that had the opportunity to then develop into northwest Queensland, into the mining industry, selling safety products, and that was quite exciting as well too. So, that's all behind us now. Yeah.
Well, that's a great background, Graeme. So, what was the tipping point that led you to actually buying a franchise? Because the franchising industry is really big in Australia, and it gets a mixed reaction, and it's had a mixed history. And by per capita, I guess worldwide, there are more franchises in Australia per capita than there are anywhere else in the world. So how did you go about the process for, I'll go back again, ask my original question. What was the tipping point to think franchising, and how did you go about choosing a franchise?
Well, when I got to a stage that I was looking for a new adventure, I suppose, After leaving Mount Isa, a partner and I opened up our own safety business in Geelong as a startup company, and that went quite well. Had a really good business partner who, like myself, had a good understanding of the safety industry, but looking for another adventure or another career path or a change in career path. I realised that if I didn't have the expertise in the area, I did need some basic grounding from a franchisor to be able to progress us through to the next stage, and then it came down to doing some solid research into the different types of franchises, And like you said, Bill, there's plenty out there to choose from, and you can almost swim in the and get lost in the amount of opportunities that come to you, and they all sound great. They all sound wonderful. What I liked about the Clark Rubber franchise is that what I could see from looking in is that it gave us the opportunity to be able to use our entrepreneurial skills amongst our own business. Clark Rubber's quite a unique franchise structure, mainly because of the retail area that we work in, but also the different products that are in the retail mix as well. If you have a look at our store, we've actually got 3 different stores here. We've got a rubber store, we've got a foam store, and we've got a pool store. So the franchisee can help you through a lot of things, but the main progression, if you want to be successful, is your own input, and that's what I felt was good about this opportunity.
And the support from the franchisor, has that met all your expectations?
Yes, it has. They, in the early days of having a look at the structure and how they operated, I was keen to see what sort of family tree they had within their own organisation, and they've got a support staff it fluctuates between how things are progressing, but in between about 40 and 60 staff in their head office, all with specific roles to be able to manage the back end of the business. We get a lot of reports every week, which we can drill down to see how our stock levels are and how our purchasing's going. We have financial support, as in accounting services we call on as well too. So I've been quite happy with the support from the franchisor. Yeah.
Is it centralised buying, Graeme, or do you have your own buying ability?
It's currently, we have our own 100% our own buying ability, and that extends a little bit to what I was saying before about having your own entrepreneurial flair. We negotiate your bulk purchases with a lot of our suppliers, and we have full control over our stock levels. We are given guides as to what is the best practice for purchasing, and that helps a lot. But if we're strong in one area, we can really concentrate on that as well too, Mark. Yeah.
And do they bring you all together as a group? So do all the managers get together, and that's when a lot of good information changes hands, when you all meet face to face. But has that been happening? COVID's obviously killed some of that, but
we do have a really strong networking opportunities via. We have state meetings, so all the Victorian and Tassie stores get together twice a year. We have a grand annual conference where all suppliers and store owners and award nights and that's really good to be able to get away and let the hair down and you socialise with all the other store owners as well. And there's also a national franchise committee which I'm a part of, which we meet twice a year as well too. So there's always something happening in that respect, Mark.
Very good. So the other question, obviously, being a retailer, retail is one of those industries that suffered greatly during the 2 years of COVID. How did you guys go? What did you do that was different, or how did you keep the business ticking?
It certainly was different. So looking back on it now, it's probably the most challenging 2 years that I've had in business. Actually, mainly because, as with everybody else, we had no influence over our own destiny. I remember religiously looking at the TV whenever the Premier had a press conference, which was every day, and just waiting for a bombshell of we're going to be closed or our industry will suffer more than others, and it was a sense of hopelessness, because whatever you're doing in the background has no bearing on what they're going to come out with. But luckily enough, for our retail industry, our products that we sell are related to home. So there's a lot of home improvement your products that we have. We have flooring, we have foam, which everybody uses around the home. Our pool services, our pool sales were elevated as well too. So, in a sense, we actually grew our business over COVID. But with that came a lot of challenges as well too, such as staff, such as supply of stock, such as having to deal with the problems that came with COVID. There was a swinging attitude on the shop floor from customers, and a lot of it was ill-directed. So our staff had to try and manage that, as well as try and live their own lives, which was thrown into turmoil as well. So, in hindsight, it was probably good for business, but it did take its toll.
Just
personally,
just on that, Graeme, I know you are a family business because you're in this with Sharon, and I know a little bit about your family dynamics. So, how did the family you would have had homeschool, or your school would have been closed?
Yeah.
So you've got the business, you've got kids at school, although they're not little kids.
Yes.
How did that all impact on you as a family?
Not as much as if the children had been younger. I've got 3 children. We've got a young lady who's 24 who's out of home, but our 2 boys at home are year 11 and year 8. So they were able to manage the homeschooling quite easily. There was often they'd be finished their schooling well before lunchtime for the day, so they had their own time after that. So it didn't have a great impact on our family, but I was really heartfelt for the families that did do it really hard in that time because of the young kids. Yeah.
And I know one of your sons. You must have DNA in the family, do you, across the family? Because I know one of your sons is a school. Is he a school? Can I call him a champion? But he's doing really well in high jump.
Actually, both boys are right into their sport, right across the board. So football, athletics, basketball, we enjoy that part of it as well too, because we get involved in some of the committees that they're involved with. So it's really like a family adventure, the sport. Yeah.
Good.
The other aspect of through the whole COVID was people sort of discovered online shopping in a big way. That flowed through to you as well, Graeme?
It has. Luckily, this was a focus of our business even before COVID, because of the introduction of companies like Amazon, and they sort of pioneered the way to enable online shopping to get moving fairly heavily before COVID. So we were almost geared up for that when it happened, and then we noticed a big change in the shopping habits when COVID hit as well too. So our online shop went through the roof through COVID, and you dropped back a bit as well too. A lot of our customer service is in store, so there's a lot of advice needed with a lot of the products that we sell. So online was good, but we still have a real need to be able to service the customer on the floor as well.
So you've got an enormous number of SKUs, as I call them, out there. I hate to do the stock take, but what's your biggest selling item? Because I also know that you have a bit of a story to tell about foam mattresses around Christmas camping time.
Yeah, it's quite seasonal. We probably do half of our turnover in 3 to 4 months of the year, mainly being summer, where we have our pool side of the business is quite dominant. That takes over, and we sell all sizes of pools, from permanent pools in ground to little baby pools that you have in the backyard. So actually, pools are quite a dominant feature of our business. But Geelong being a holiday destination place, we do find that our foam mattress sales are quite high as well too. So actually, both of those products are probably our two two premiums.
Well, I did buy 2 of them here for my own grandchildren when they visit, but they won't sleep in them, and I end up sleeping in them because they want to sleep in my bed. That's the problem.
Thanks for the sale, Bill.
Yeah, that's right. So, just a little bit about your staff. You know, all the talks about the lack of staff, or the availability of staff. So, how do you get on with your staff? How do you keep them motivated? Because retailing is, full-on profession, in my opinion. So, what's your relationship with your staff, and how do you keep that momentum going?
It's a constant area that we do focus on heavily, because and no matter what we do in the back office, or no matter how strong Clark Rubber is as a company, the people that come into our store, we'll only be judged on how we serve them and other products that we recommend. So our staff selection is ultra important to be able to maintain a high level. We have a mixture of full-time staff and casual staff. We often have sales incentives. We often have team meetings, but most importantly, as I may have mentioned when we were talking about the original Furphy and Sons, the sense of teamwork is probably what we tend to focus on more so than individual efforts. And our casual staff is particularly important to us, because when we have those 3 or 4 summer months that I talked about, we do need to have the right number on the floor. We're open 7 days a week, so there's got to be a strong roster that keeps them involved. And we find that we're quite lucky being in Geelong, because we target the university students for our casual work. Insofar as the summer months, they're generally free. And then in the winter months, when we're not as needy for staff, they don't need as much hours because they're at university. The other part of that is that it's being university students, they're keen to learn, and it comes naturally to them. Whereas for me, I take longer to pick up things than what I see my staff picking them up. So we're really lucky to be able to turn over some casual staff that are really of good quality. And we're also lucky enough that we try and feed off the staff that we have to introduce new people into our business. So if we have a staff member that recommends a friend, the onus is on the friend to be able to take ownership of the recommendation. And we find that we do not have a big turnover of staff.
So, as a family business, you and your partner Sharon.
Yes.
Yep.
Yeah.
What's the decision-making process? Do you actually have a formal sit-down and talk about the business and do a strategic plan? And how do you operate?
Actually, I've never been asked that before, Mark. I have to consider that, because it's not something that we deliberately talk about. So, in answer to your question, I just think we wing it. There's times that something may pop into Sharon's head and she mentions it and we talk about it, but there's no formal decision-making process. And so far, I think it's gone pretty well for us.
Yeah, Graeme, sorry, Mark, on that is, you might wing it there because it's about retail, it's about personal relationships and customer support, but I would suggest that it's the strength of the franchise behind you with the systems and processes that enables you. And you said before, you're not running a franchise being told what to do every day, but the support you've got behind you allows you to run it as your intuition tells you that's what you need to do. Would that be a fair comment?
I think that's pretty much on the money, Bill. Yeah, having that support behind us means that that takes away a lot of the little decision making that would then need resolving. Yes.
The other what we've discovered with our podcasting is a great majority of business owners have a mentor, someone they can sound things out or bounce. Do you have someone that you whether it's a mentor in an official sense, but somebody that you do sound things out and bounce things off apart from your partner?
We do individually as store owners. Actually, when we do meet up, as we said before, Mark, we often develop strong relationships with existing store owners, and that networking then continues on a one-on-one basis. And there's probably 5 or 6 your store owners that are continually communicating with each other and are throwing ideas. Yeah, so it's more of a networking process rather than a mentoring, but it is important. Yeah.
Well, that's another strength of a robust franchise system,
Absolutely,
isn't it?
absolutely.
Yeah. So, outside of work, because you're open 7 days a week, but you can't physically be here 7 days, 24. You might sometimes think you are. So, what do you do outside of work?
Well, the kids are still at home, so we have a lot of your family involvement, and that involves mainly sport. I've got a boat. I enjoy fishing out on the bay when I can. That doesn't happen as often as what it should be. And we do like socialising as well too. We have a nice network of friends that we often get together with. So just the general things that people do outside of their work. Yeah.
We can't all be at work 24 hours a day, although some will tell you that their greatest, sense of pride is that they've never haven't had a holiday in 10 years. But you've got plenty of gear out here to go camping and doing things. I can see that.
So tell us a bit about the charity work that you do, Graeme, that you're quite involved in.
Yeah, it's something that's sort of developed over the last decade, where I suppose we get to an age sort of late 50s at the moment, and looking back on it, I've had a really good journey, and there's opportunities within our own community to help people that aren't as fortunate. So a few years ago, a couple of us got together and started an auction charity that supports the Give Where You Live Foundation, and really happy to support Give Where You Live, because they then distribute their funds throughout the community as they need to, and that's better than us trying to pick who we should be able to support, because we'd like to support everyone, but we can't. So supporting an organisation like Give Where You Live is something that we really enjoy doing, and we hold an annual auction every year out at the Woolen Mills, and invite actually quite a few important people from around the community, and we get a lot of support through that. So we really enjoy doing that side of it. Yeah.
That's fantastic, Graeme. And what it leads to is someone that's very busy. I mean, retail 7 days a week just shows you that there's always that little bit more that you can do, and it's fantastic. You're giving back into the community, so commend you for that. That's fantastic.
Oh, thank you, mate. Yeah.
So, Graeme, thank you for the chat. It's not as painful as you might have thought it would be, but it's great to learn a bit about you and your business and your family. And Bill?
Yeah, I repeat your comments, Mark. Graeme, thank you for giving us your time. You've got a great business here, and we hope it just keeps going from strength to strength.
Yeah, thank you, Bill, and thank you, Mark. It's exciting to be part of a podcast. I've never done that before. Yeah.